is fucking dog shit for some fucking reason. There we go. Sorry about that. So if you didn't catch that, I'll edit it out, but I'll say it again. This is a brochure for Stetson's stupid fucking made up country. The island mass of which can be seen here. The island from Dear Esther is fucking dwarfs it, but you know. The Democratic Republic of Demingukshania Constitution. Oh, it's the Constitution. Wait, why does the opening look like a fucking... Like, you can see why I thought this was some sort of holiday brochure, right? Anyway. Official documentation. I found toilet paper with shit skids on it, which is more official in documentation than this. Created and approved and authorized by Demingukshania National Government. Written by Shen Ai An, as heard on the Shenai show. Okay. Authorized 2012-05-23. So about 10 years before it was fucking written. In effect, 30th of June 2012. I think he writes dates like the Asians do, but I could be wrong because they do a lot of things backwards, like you know, written wise. But who knows? The Democratic Republic of Demingukshania is a fascinating and amazing nation full of innovative ideas. Yeah, this is a constitution for the people who fucking live there, so they won't need to know that because they live there. Culture and ideology. Yeah, I'm sure you'll win Civ 5 or Civ 6 or whichever one we're on now. It is a democratic republic. Yes, everyone unanimously voted for you. Its national religion is Buddhism. Who decided that? Its currency is the Yuna, which is a Final Fantasy character, but go on. And well, it's not spelled like that, but you know. And it has its own constitution. Yes, I'm reading it. Bill of Rights. Why do you need a Bill of Rights? I thought the Bill of Rights was an amendment to the Constitution to update it. Why do you need to update your Constitution before you've even written it? Laws and bylaws. Okay. The Democratic Republic of Demingukshania is a democratic republic. Wow. Fuck me gently. This is educational as fuck. The Democratic Republic is defined as a form of government operating on principles adopted from a republic and a democracy. Thank you for telling me what a democratic republic is. Sorry, something came up. The Democratic Republic of Demingukshania is also a socialist nation. Okay. With the understanding that every human being has the right to equal universal personal economic growth. It's supposed to put commas in because it's like a list, but okay. Or E2UPG. I thought it was like a packaging company, but whatever. An equal representation of / by the government in relation to protecting the rights of every human. But you don't believe in protecting the rights of every human because in your number wang code book 2. By the way, I looked it up because the word number wang sounded really familiar. It's a joke, like game show from that Mitchell and Webb look. Like I think Gage thought it was named after a game show. It's not. It's named after a fucking fake game show that was a joke. Why he decided to name it that, I don't fucking know, but it gets even dumber the more you look into it. Protecting the rights of every human being in every capacity available. The problem is with that as a sentence, and like the problem is like rights clash. Like sometimes the right of, say, free speech clashes with the right to, I don't know, to safety. Some might say stuff which threatens others. So whose rights are more prevalent in that scenario? Or what compromise would you make? The protecting of the human race is the top priority of the Democratic National Government, or DSNG. Okay. I don't know why you needed to explain the acronym when you've already fucking. Well, it's not an acronym, it's that other word that I can't remember the fucking name of. Why is the human race in need of protection? Because, like, it's not even at risk. If anything, there are too many humans right now. Like, factually, there are. Like, there are not enough resources on the planet for the growing number of humans in circulation. But, you know. The government's main political components consist of four branches of government: Parliament branch, Directorate branch, Egalitarian branch, and Universal branch. Okay. So it's basically just like a knockoff of the American system. You know, for a guy who hates America so much, you are very keen to just copy and paste its entire structure into your own shitty country. Okay. God, this is going to be so many recordings. It's just because of some bullshit. Parliamentary branch. A parliamentary government is a system in which the powers of the executive and legislative branches are intertwined, as opposed to being held separate as a check against each other's power, as the founding fathers of the United States demanded in the U.S. Constitution. So you've decided to remove the checks and balances of power from the U.S. Constitution. I mean, to be fair, it's not perfect as a system. I don't think any of the systems are perfect in any regard, because the problem is, like, they're all open to abuse. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what you do. Like, most of government rules and what have you, they're all just like, they're not real. People just followed them for a while because they thought they were real, and then one day people realized, oh, they're not real, so they just do whatever they want now. That's because the top government official and members of his cabinet are chosen not by voters, as is the case with the presidential system in the United States, but by members of the legislature. So you're basically introducing a system in which cronyism can more or less just dominate the entire, like, okay. Parliamentary governments are common in Europe and in the Caribbean. However, they are also more common worldwide than presidential forms of government. You can have a president and a parliament, you know. Directorate branch. I like how he doesn't say what his parliament's going to do. Like, is it going to be like the British Parliament where it's back and forth between the Commons and the Lords to decide, like, if a law should exist, or is it just gonna sit there and look pretty? The Directorate branch is a government branch that is the mediator between the Parliament, the people. I think he meant to put and about there-ish, but he fucked it up because he's a massive drongo. The Directorate branch makes sure that the initiatives of the parliamentary branch are active and are carried out in regards to the citizenry directly, without any confusion delay. You see, kids, this is why you shouldn't write anything whilst absolutely fucking sloshed. And you certainly shouldn't drink whilst pregnant like Stetson's mum apparently did. The Directorate branch also achieves the official act of mediator between the people and their government. The Directorate branch also has the authority to create, mediate, and pass legislation within the realm of human rights, civil liberties, and social issues, which includes social justice. Okay, so next time a Harry Potter game comes out, this branch of government's just gonna fucking read about it for weeks. Societal reform and protecting minorities, immigrants, and those who are victimized by failing and oppressive capitalist systems. Oh, by a failing and oppressive capitalistic system. That's basically what I said. As well as upgrade the Constitution. So long as said acts does not supersede said Constitution or violate the individual human rights and civil liberties of the people who it or they represent. Okay. Sorry, someone's trying to invite me to some fucking Twitter bullshit and I don't care. This branch has the right to create and update laws regarding issues that has a direct effect on the population, which includes, but are not limited to, education, global warming, abortion, LGBT plus rights. I like how he doesn't have the fucking P in there anymore, because, you know, that didn't look good. Marriage, racial equality, healthcare, etc. So, you've got society, which has no, like, a societal branch, which has no checks and balances. Nobody's able to vote for them. And it's full of cronyism, and it decides what people's rights are. That's not going to end badly at all. That's going to go swimmingly. The Directorate branch does not have the authority to deny rights to any human being. I mean, it does. You've literally given it that ability. Like, even if the thing is, just because you decide that something is a right or that something is denied, it doesn't mean that somebody else is going to see it that way or someone can't twist it to be that way. They do not have the authority to deny rights to any human being, to deny rights to the LGBT plus community, or to favor radical right-wing agendas of an antisocial and republican nature. What about like radical left-wing agendas? Because those can be just as bad. Like in certain situations, like even if you are very left-leaning, they can still be a bad thing for extremists of any variety, even the people who are closer to your place on the political compass, to have too much power. Personally, I think some balance is needed because otherwise one side just gets too complacent and just does whatever it wants. And they usually end up dying anyway. It is also not authorized to try and manipulate or control the individual lifestyles of the human race on a personal level. Didn't you say that you want fucking concentration camps for people who disagree with you? Meaning that the very existence of the Directorate branch is to protect the very existence of the human race. What if they decide? I mean, that's the problem though. Like, what if that conflicts with rights? Like, for example, I don't want to sound like an anti masker because I'm really not, but the coronavirus, certain rights had to be restricted, I guess, because on the larger scale, it was within everybody's best interest as far as, you know, staying alive went, that people were restricted to their homes and that they weren't able to go out and do whatever they wanted as they would have done the year before. Now, I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying, like, your government won't be allowed to do that, despite the fact that it is to preserve and save the human race. Without creating any anti human legislation or acting in ways that presents a narrative for anti human behavior. Okay. Stetson reminds me of like every now and then in Doctor Who stories, there's always like a civilization stupid enough to make deals with the Daleks and like buy into the Daleks bullshit, and then the Daleks just turn up and murder them all. And I imagine Stetson would be one of those civilizations. Like, I could totally picture that being the case where they all just like, hey, we've met these guys and they're totally liberal and they care about us. Yes, we care about your civil liberties. You know, these guys are like genocidal maniacs, right? They just go from place to place. Shut up, conservative. Egalitarian branch. Egalitarianism is a contested concept in social and political thought. That's not a definition because it doesn't mean anything. One might care about human equality in many ways, for many reasons. You see, this is why an egotistical moron shouldn't, like, I know this isn't a real country, but this is why it doesn't work. Because, unfortunately, there's always got to be a loser whenever there's a winner. And for one right to be preserved, another person's right has to be, I don't know, restricted on some level. Hell, even if it's just purely based on perception, this is the case. And I just think it's dumb that this guy is acting like, yeah, well, I've made this and I wrote this, so therefore it's all hunky dory now because no matter what, I'm using everyone's best interest. No, you're not. You might think you are, but you're not. Bearing in mind, I studied this shit. I've seen how all these things start: liberalism, conservatism, communism, socialism. They all start off thinking they're the perfect ideology, and that's when the flaws come along. Whereas yours, most of these flaws that I can find, I can just find them by looking on back at history. It's like communism. Ideally, a society where everyone's equal might not sound too awful, but then you find that some people are more equal than others. And that's not even me criticizing, that's just a fact. Because your president and your street sweepers are not the same. They can't be the same. It's impossible. Maybe in a small community, sure, but not in a large one. I think really the flaw is that really like civilization has only been the size that it is and the way that it is for a couple of hundreds of years. Sorry, a couple of 100 years. And as a result, it's like there's no perfect model because honestly, as a species, we're just not experienced enough to find a perfect model that works. I mean, any system could work on a small enough scale. Like, if you had a communist village, for example, it might work forever. It might do. But if it's an entire country or an entire planet, it probably won't work because it won't suit everyone. I don't think, honestly, that we're designed to have like societies that spread over literally everyone and make everyone happy. It's just impossible. No two people in a room are ever going to 100% agree on something, and societies have to more or less avoid that. They have to more or less just make rules for everyone, despite the fact that no two people are 100% the same, and no two people are going to agree on every little thing, because that would be ridiculous if they did. As currently used, the legal label egalitarian does not necessarily indicate that the doctrine, so called, holds that it is desirable that people's condition. Sorry, this is so fucked. Like, this shouldn't be made the same in any respect, or that people ought to be treated the same way in any respect. An egalitarian. I want the actual definition. What is an egalitarian like? Because I don't actually know the meaning of it. Believing in or based on the principle that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. Oh, okay. So, I'm surprised that never came up in politics class, actually. We studied communism. Maybe it did and I just overlooked it. I don't know. An egalitarian might rather be one who maintains that people ought to be treated as equals. I mean, the problem is, like, it's a nice idea, but you can't treat all people as equals. You do not treat all people as equals. You like to profess that you do, but you don't. You've proven it in your books. Even the people you claim you're on their side, you do not treat as equals. You positively and negatively discriminate. Like with Asian people, for example, you treat them as some sort of master race, but then you also treat like conservatives as the devil, which isn't egalitarianism. You don't believe in the idea that everyone's equal or that everyone's because you believe that rights should be curb stomped for people who disagree with you. As possessing equal fundamental worth and dignity, and as equally morally considerable. Therefore, the egalitarian branch is the authority of appointing national judges. Oh, so it's gonna be like in America where like well mind you, it's a branch, so it's not as bad as the president just picking someone and everyone having to deal with it for the next 20 or 30 years. Upholding the law and maintaining equality and justice for all. Tell me the judges from Judge Dredd. I'd be kind of down for that at this point. I mean, the police in this country are a limp dick joke. Like, honestly, judge, jury, and executioner would be much more like useful. It has the authority to subpoena, create, and act upon indictment, and to provide general judicial support services and legal resources. This is divided into four elements: Supreme Court, Muppet Court, and provincial courts. Four elements. As seen here. There's four of them. Universal branch. The universal branch is the concept of a common political authority for all humanity. That's a fucking terrible idea. Are you telling me that Asians, Africans, Westerners, Middle Easterns, and Russians are all going to want to live the same way? Like, are you telling me that is a smart thing to enforce? That's stupid. What the hell does this even mean? The concept of common political authority for all of humanity. What? What about hermits and the Amish? What about people who don't want to be part of society? You're going to make them? Giving way to a global government. What, like the Universal Union from fucking Half-Life 2? Is that like your end game? And a single state or polity. Right, this guy is gonna be the fucking Universal Union, apparently. He can't even fucking spell policy. With jurisdiction over the entire world. Yeah, because, you know, one world authority is a great fucking idea. It means that if someone manages to more or less get their way into power through dubious means, they'll control everything. Honestly, I don't think a world authority is a good idea. Like, maybe if we enter like a space age, like Mass Effect, yes, we'll probably need a representative for the planet, but they should be like a representative, not a fucking world president, because that's a fucking terrible idea. I mean, technically, the Pope is like the universal representative of, you know, like his religion's universal representative, and no one can even decide who should be Pope. It takes a bunch of people days to decide that. And not everyone's happy with the choices either. So it's like the universal branch of government has the authority to create and enforce laws on an international and intergalactic scale. I Right, if you ever go and tell the Krogans Your stupid laws. I want to be there, not to help. I just want to film the guy get beaten to shit after telling Krogans, hey, you guys, you're not allowed to headbutt people anymore. We're taking away your nuclear weapons. Just gets fucking headbutted so hard that his face indents and he dies, and that's just basically that. I like how he's already deciding the laws for intergalactic, like the intergalactic laws implies that he's already making laws for aliens which he doesn't know what they are. He doesn't know how they live. He doesn't care how they are. He criticizes a lot of people, but he's doing the same thing that Europe did with Africa, where we didn't give a shit about their culture, we didn't give a shit about them, we didn't give a shit about anything. We just saw it as a big pile of resources and land and decided to divvy it up. And now it's just a constant civil war because all these people who used to live in separate lands now have their fucking borders just divvied up. It's like half a fucking one state being and half of another being one new state, and then like the Texans and the people next over fucking have to decide whether they're Texans or whatever country they are now. Well, state they are now. Obviously, that'd cause a massive shit show. We did that, and Stetson's gonna try doing it with the entire universe. You know what? If the Daleks ever invade, I really hope that Stetson is our fucking the first human that fucking tries to negotiate. They don't even shoot him, they just sucker him to death. They just crush his face in the plunger and watch him die. It also actively has universal jurisdiction, and its constitution validity is not bound by international borders or even the limits of Earth. What if the aliens are like way smarter than us? Like, what if they're like Time Lords or some shit? Like, they're so advanced and so smart that they've solved every problem in the universe. Are we going to go land in their territory and tell them what to do? Like, what? I mean, realistically, it's most likely going to be like Mass Effect, where it's a political shit show in space and everyone's a dick. Like, that's probably the most likely thing. Or Warhammer, where everyone is rancid and we realize, oh wow, we weren't so bad after all. The Universal Branch also has the authority to charge people for crimes in other countries whilst utilizing this constitution. No, it doesn't. Like, you can request that people are sent over for trial. And if Obama's in charge, he'll let you and just say, oh, yeah, sure, I'll just file it under terrorist charges. What did he do? Oh, online piracy for video games or movies. Right, okay, that counts as terrorism. Send him over. Go on. But yeah, if Obama's not in office, you're going to have a hard time doing that, aren't you? Fucking idiot. Merge countries. Why would you merge countries? And what authority do you have to merge countries? Why would you? So you're basically gonna. What are you gonna do? Fucking just France and Spain, and you're just gonna go. All right, boys, you're the Franish from now on. This is Frane. Excusez-moi. You're Franish. That is a stupid name. Yes, we know, but you are now Spain and France. You're Frane, the Franish. And then there's just a mass suicide across the whole of France and Spain because nobody wants to be called the Franish. That's what you do to people. You sick monster. Property. So you could just seize people's property like universal repo men. Okay. Individuals. What? Etc. into the citizenry of the Democratic Republic of Demigokchania without having to move to another physical location. So I can wake up one morning and just suddenly be made a citizen of a made up country against my will. The fuck is this? And create the division, less society. Well, I agree with this. It is less society. I don't know what the fuck it is. So you're going to merge countries, steal people's property, kidnap people, and basically make people citizens of a country they might not agree with. And this is supposed to reduce division. Are you inbred or just naturally dumb? Both free and equal. Fucking plonker. The Universal Union, I mean Universal Branch, also can cooperate with the other three branches of government, share information with the other three branches of government, and even acts as a diplomatic universal ambassadors on behalf of the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania. I'm sorry, what? If we do find aliens, I hope they destroy us. I hope they're the Reapers, the Daleks, or the Cybermen. I don't care which. Just wipe us out, please. We need it. I mean, this is fucking proof. I'll just email them this and say, we're asking for it. I'm sorry. I hope the fucking Solarians genophage us. Their universal branch also had the authority to adopt international laws and incorporate them into the official laws of this country. Why? As long as their laws do not conflict with the Constitution or the human rights of others, regardless of race, sexuality, gender identity, religion, height, income, etc. I'm assuming this is like to stop dwarfism or whatever, but like dwarf, like discrimination against dwarves. But like, I just find it funny the idea that someone's like 5'7" and they're discriminated against. The term universal jurisdiction refers to the idea that national court may prosecute individuals for serious crimes against the international law. Your idea of a serious crime is someone calling you a dipshit on the internet, such as crimes against humanity. Yeah, someone calls you a pillock online and you'll go apeshit. War crimes, someone says fuck you on the internet. Genocide, again, someone tells you to fuck yourself and calls you a plonker or a pillock and you'll fucking lose your shit. And torture, your podcasts are torture, so you should be executed, based on the principle that such crimes harm the international community. How does me torturing one guy in my basement harm an international community? Or international order itself, which individual states may act to protect. Generally, universal jurisdiction is invoked when other traditional bases of criminal jurisdiction are not available. For example, a defendant is not a national of the state. The defendant did not commit a crime in that state's territory or against its nationals, or the state's own national interests are not adversely affected. So, if you don't think something's a crime, your stupid made up government can just get people out of trouble. So, if I commit a fucking massacre, let's say in Texas, but Texas is full of fucking conservatives, you'll just be like, no, that guy cannot be tried because he killed conservatives and conservatives suck. And you just get me out of there. Like, what the hell is this? That's moronic. As a nation with universal jurisdiction, As a nation with universal jurisdiction. Again, please tell the civilized aliens out there your stupid bullshit. This official document is not limited to just one country. You're right, it's not. It's limited to nothing because it doesn't exist. Furthermore, the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania can be established and expanded anywhere in the world, which, contradicting the already established national entity already in place, where is it in place? Instead, said entity would be merged into the system of the Democratic Republic of Shania without said location losing its heritage, traditions, language, way of life, etc., except for cases where said entities violate the human rights and peaceful existence of others. See, you could get around a lot by just saying it's nomadic, or it's a people, not a land. That's a good cop out, but no. In that case, the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania will replace questionable violations, not including human beings or any living creature or thing, with a universal sound, peaceful entity which has been approved by the universal branch of Demingukshania, national government, and the people of both areas in question. Hello, and welcome back to a reading of the Demingukshania National Constitution, which I didn't actually realize, but I've been using a piece of software that actually bothers to bookmark the PDF you're reading. Can I get a hallelujah and all that shit? Right. Okay. Universal jurisdiction also means that more people can benefit from the protections of their human rights. You do benefit when someone's protecting your human rights. They have more freedoms in their everyday lives, except disagreeing with you. That's not one they have. And that said freedoms are not limited to one type of person, tribe, nation, or even continent. Hello. I was eating a cheese string and didn't want to turn into Lance going. I'm still going to drink my coffee. I hope that's not too loud. Anyway. So, he says that human rights will not be limited to, like, regions and stuff. But we all know that Demingukshanians would come first in his fucking eyes, especially ones that agreed with him. It means that every single individual on planet Earth and off-world can receive equal treatment, equal rights, equal freedoms, and equal pay. What do you mean by equal pay? Because if you're implying that, like, I don't know, like, gender and race won't affect your pay, I'd agree with that. But if you're trying to imply that a street sweeper and the fucking president should get paid the same amount of money, I don't think that's going to work too well. Uniformly, without discrimination. For example, the freedom of privacy is protected under this constitution. Right, and if you truly believe in that, you must now try yourself for the violation of Gage's privacy and the privacy of his girlfriend and the privacy of several other people, like Christina, whose personal information you leaked. But if you go on one of Stetson's social medias, I won't say which one because I don't want to inadvertently dox this person, he has uploaded pictures of someone he knew years ago for no real reason and is putting creepy messages underneath. And don't try to deny it, I've got screenshots. And it's enforced via the egalitarian branch. Okay. Because the entire government has universal jurisdiction. That doesn't sound like freedom to me, but okay. That means that every human being in existence has access to freedom of privacy. Except for Gage, apparently. And, everyone related to Gage. And that woman who you randomly keep sharing on your Instagram feed. And, just anyone who you don't deem important when it comes to privacy violation. Yeah. Can you give yourself the death penalty, as would be the custom in Demingukshania? Thanks. Naturally, this universal jurisdiction is not a means for the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania to infringe on the existence of others. So why do you do it? You literally get up everyone's ass about their own personal business and their own personal baggage for no other fucking reason than you're a shitty little busybody. You're not even the good kind of busybody. You're not even the kind of busybody who gets involved in shit like Miss Marple, who, like, solves crimes or anything. You are just a shitbag who just acts on rumor based on someone you don't like, and you're like, oh, I don't like that person, so I like that rumor because it makes them look bad. I'm gonna go and annoy them over it. But to bring leverage to an ever-growing and ever-advancing society. Your fucking society would go the way of the dinosaurs. 2. Amendments. You've not even finished writing the first draft of it, and you're already making fucking amendments. Okay. Oh, that's blank. Okay, so this is just a space for amendment. Oh, no. There is no age restriction. You admitted that age exists on any person and government shall not be implemented. So there's no government? Vote on, pass on, and create any law restricting the livelihood of the people and their right to freedom of choice, freedom of movement, and freedom of expression involving age for any reason. So this is just your stupid cope where you're just like, oh no, people should be able to do whatever they want at any age, despite the fact that that is really dumb. Like, you've argued that children should be able to drive a car, despite the fact that when I was about 8 or something like that, I actually climbed into the driver's seat. I had no intention of driving the car, but I did want to see what holding the steering wheel was like and all that shit. And I could not even see over the steering wheel. So, you want people to be able to drive vehicles that they are too physically small to operate, just so you can say that you're, I don't know, you win of something. I couldn't even tell you what you supposedly win. I mean, it's so fucking stupid. Like, your idea of age limitation is really fucking retarded. I like how you've got whole segments of the law based on age discrimination when you insist that age does not exist. Therefore, this constitution will not be limited by any means to the restrictions of age discrimination, and or labels that create a narrative of age. What about clothing? Is it just going to be one size fits all in clothing? Hello, I'm 5 years old. Age does not exist. Shut up. I want to buy a new t shirt. Okay, we've got this. It fits a 46-year-old man. No, that's basically a dress on me. I need a t-shirt for a 5-year-old. We don't do age discrimination in our clothes. So you're gonna have to basically just wear a fucking dress. Great. Thanks, Stetson. Discrimination or age discrimination? Why not just say age or age discrimination? Whatever. The entire Constitution and laws created and passed will equally serve all of humanity as a whole, aka this bitch can't write for fucking shit. And every individual person and living being. Age will not be a barrier nor a deference in the evolution of the human race. Well, the human race isn't going to evolve very far if people who are like 2 are expected to do the same shit as people who are 30. I mean, we tried that during the Victorian era, where children worked for a living. They had access to alcohol, drugs, and prostitutes at a young age, and it went really fucking badly. They either died in workplace accidents, or their immune systems were shot to fuck because they got STDs off the prostitutes and ended up just fucking getting every STD by the time they were 20, and then their immune systems were so fucked up that they couldn't even like survive the fucking common cold that came around. Not to mention either that if they start drinking whilst their organs are developed or smoking whilst their organs are developing, then they are probably going to end up with fucked up organs. Not to mention either that a little kid being given alcohol, assuming he has any taste for it at all, is going to end up completely hooked on it because he's going to drink it like fucking water, not quite understanding that if you getting drunk is a very quick to happen thing, but it's delayed. But also, so like he could drink way more than he's able to handle and not realize it until it hits him. But also, he could drink every day, not quite understanding what addiction is. Because in all honesty, addiction is something that you don't quite know until you have it. You don't quite understand it until you have it, in all honesty. Age never existed to begin with. Why have you written about it in your fucking constitution? Also, why is it when I go to my local clothes shop, I find labels with clothing, like clothing labels that say age 5 to whatever, 5 to 9 or whatever? If age doesn't exist, why do these things exist? Why is it that our entire universe references age, like, everywhere? It's almost like that's all of shit. Nor will the government recognize, promote, create, or pass any laws that will encourage and or approve of any element, the division of the human race, or any age restrictions at any cost. Well, yeah, that kids, go out and buy yourself as many cigarettes as you can fit into your mouth, then light them with the lighter that you weren't supposed to have before, then get absolutely shit-faced drunk, hire a hooker, get every STD on the map before your immune system's fully developed, and then die at 10 years old with yellow skin from alcohol poisoning, collapsed lungs from smoking too much, and that your face will look like a fucking satellite map because you got every rash imaginable. All possible under the fucking constitution of Deminguk. This is the stupidest thing. Like, the thing is, if you give kids the ability to just do whatever they want, they just do whatever they want, and the longer it goes without moderation, the worse it gets. Like, it's a fucking disaster. And that's true of fucking 15-year-olds, never mind 5-year-olds. No individual can restrict any human beings based on age or any age-related narrative. So, kids with guns. Belief, motive. Oh yeah, he doesn't believe in guns. Kids with knives. Kids with very sharp crayons. Political motive, ideology, and slash or religious beliefs or individual thought. 1B. There are no consent laws or clauses. So, Rape City then. Enacted in the Democratic Republic of Deminguk laws, Bill of Rights or Constitution, nor shall any laws be passed promoting said narrative. So yeah, rape is perfectly legal. You don't. It's not even like in the Bible where you have to pay for 35 silver or whatever it is to justify it. No, 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 no. You could just rape whoever you want. All human beings have the rights to fully and wholeheartedly utilize their right to freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of intellect, and freedom of expression, and freedom of sexual exploration. So if someone's trying to walk home from work and they need to like get home before a certain time, and then some guy just jumps on them and decides to have sex with them, let's forget the trauma aspects for a second. Even though they wouldn't want that because like they've got to get home, you're still going to insist that they have to like go through it from beginning to end for somebody else's rights. Are you off your fucking tits? Of course you are. I also like as well how consent doesn't exist in any way. So you don't have to consent to have a like mortgage put in your name. So you can wake up and find out that there's 1,000 mortgages been made in your name and you've not consented to any of them, but consent doesn't exist. So I guess that's that. You'll be paying those off for the rest of your life. You don't need contracts anymore because consent doesn't exist, so you don't have to fucking sign for anything. Oh, what's that? You're gonna pay me 1000% APR? Oh, oopsie doodle. No human being has the authority to abuse another human. Well, that's not true because consent doesn't exist, so these already fucking clash. Or to be abused by another human being. But that's the problem, like, you've removed consent, so yes, you are allowing abuse. Because consent is both parties agreeing, and you've removed that as a thing. So yes, abuse can and will happen in your country now. Well done. However, no human being shall consider love as a form of abuse, or abuse as a form of love. So yes, this part is anti-rape, but this part is pro-rape. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Your constitution's a pile of shit. A person's sex life is the responsibility of the individual. Okay, but there are two individuals in most sexual acts. That's the part you keep fucking either ignoring or you don't quite understand. Two people have sex. So when it comes to consent, there are two parties that need to consent. It's not single party consent, it is two party consent or more, depending on, what you're doing. But let's just assume we're just talking normal missionary shit, right? Two party consent for that, and two party consent for anything else. All parties involved are like, they all have to be able to fucking consent for it. That's. And each of the people consenting are individuals. Like, these three things all fucking clash with one another. That's how well thought out this quote unquote constitution is. I don't know why I'm analyzing it so deeply. I guess it's because I did do a fucking comparison of the US and UK constitutions for my fucking exam 10 years ago, but no, this is retarded even to someone who never even looked at either of those documents. Their life of individual and not responsibility of any outside motivations. Then why the hell did you get all uppity about fucking Gage's and Mrs. Gage's fucking relationship? Why did you get all up their ass about, like those stupid allegations Andrew Velasco came up with, which he didn't even think about, he just made them up. He was also raping his dog, but apparently your country missed that one. Your army of gay ninjas must have been asleep. Their lifestyle is their choice. Okay? And no human being has the authority to meddle in another person's sex life. Except for you. Because you tell people that they cannot withdraw or consent to anything. So, you are meddling in people's sex lives. Like, what if a person's sex life is asexuality, which is perfectly valid? It's just as valid as any other sexuality. If someone's asexual and your laws force them to have sex, you're meddling in their sex life. If someone's gay and a woman or a man forces himself on them, then that's meddling with their sex life, but you've legalized that because you're an idiot. You actually are a fucking idiot. This whole document is just cope after cope after cope for failed debates. Because you say something stupid and you just double down on it. Credit due to Lance, as dumb as he can be. At least if he says something like this and you point out why it's flawed, and he actually understands on some level, he will backtrack and say, "No, you're right. I'm just being stupid." This dickhead doesn't even do that. He just sits there like, "Oh no, I was right, and everybody else is wrong." And now he's basically created a document full of instances where he was wrong, where he has to be right about all of them, but they all fucking clash. Which includes, but is not limited to, couples, single individuals, married couples, individuals with alternative lifestyles, and people in general. Okay? Nor is a person's. You're supposed to put an apostrophe. You illiterate cunt. Sex life, style, the responsibility of any government authority. So if you're trying to give a press conference and some guy just jumps on you from behind and starts bumming you like really hard in front of all the cameras, and like, like you're just trying to give a press conference about the coronavirus or something, and some random citizen of Deming Gukshania has appeared and bummed you for no reason, the government cannot stop that. You don't have to consent. Your withdrawn consent is noted, but sorry, we don't care. And also, your security guards are not allowed to intervene Because the government are not allowed to intervene with that man's fetish of bumming politicians in the middle of speeches. That's literally what you've created here. That's literally what you've allowed. You're absolutely stupid. And given how much you love this shit, I wish that would happen. I wish you'd fucking finally understand why everything you said is stupid whilst being violently bummed on the floor by someone as fucking stupid and crazy as you. Legal organization, political party, political persuasion, religious group, church, belief, organization, and or individual. I mean, there is the complicated question of religious belief, religion, and like the thing is, religious freedom and sexual freedom can clash in certain places, but you don't consider that. The choice of their people is respected by their government. Well, clearly not, because, if people choose not to have sex, you don't respect that. Even if the government does not agree with their choices. Okay. However, said government continue to have the authority to create and enforce laws against ideologies that condemns, persecutes, or suppresses and or forces religions, homophobic, political, racist, transphobic, and anti-human notions. Okay. The government has no authority to censor the people. You just said it does. Unless an individual, political, organization, and or religious group abuses their right to freedom of speech, it's the fact that you think that freedom of speech can be abused is, you know, part of the problem. I wish you'd just admit you don't believe in freedom of speech. It's okay. You can. You can say you don't believe in freedom of speech. You can believe that those who know best should be able to say more than those who are fucking ignorant, for example. A lot of people would disagree and even dislike you for saying it, but I'd respect you a lot more for just simply coming out and say, I do not believe in fucking freedom of speech. It's okay to believe in something other than the status quo. Which is ironic because you insist that that's all you ever do is try to be a fucking contrarian, but you constantly try to adhere to the fucking freedom of speech crowd, despite the fact that you do not believe in freedom of speech and or expression to verbally, physically, emotionally, and or spiritually abuse the likes of others. How do you spiritually abuse people? Do you have a seance and then channel an evil ghost to attack them? And to bully others because of their differences on any level. I mean, you've attacked white people for the color of their skin, but let's not get into that. The freedom of sexual expression belongs to every human without being discrimination. Oh, sorry, being without discrimination. Could you blame me if that was actually how it was phrased? Love is love. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. No individual has the authority to abuse, bully, or harass any individual for who said individual has sex with. So some guy forcibly fucks your sister while she's on her way home from work in an alleyway. Your sister who was saving herself for her first true love and has now had sex equated with that one night where she was trying to walk home and you have no right to call him a piece of shit for all that. Okay. Thanks, Stetson, you're the best. Uh, I mean, by that I mean you're a fucking piece of dog shit and I hope you get run over by a steamroller and have your fucking innards fly out your asshole as you die. Nor can any person violate said individual rights of freedom of privacy because of it. Oh, that's good. So if someone rapes someone, we're not allowed to know who they are. No human being has the right to violate the privacy of someone else, both of social media, which includes YouTube. I'd assume it'd include YouTube. That's fucking whatever. Or in person. How do you violate someone's privacy in person? I mean, I can think of some ways, but I don't think he thought it through. Number 4, Black Lives Matter and the people have the right to support, understand, and respect the lives of black individuals. Okay. It's interesting though that you just have it for black individuals and not for, all ethnic minorities. Like, why not just say all ethnic minorities are recognized, blah 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 blah, like you did there, but just, or do you have to do one for each fucking race you can think of? And then you forget one like Native Americans. Like, shit, we need to make an amendment. By the way, those guys are cool too. There is no room for racism in the government. Well, that's not true because you're a racist, or any element of the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania. So you need to get out because you're a bigot. The national government has the authority to provide resource to any individual who has suffered at the hand of racist, homophobic, transphobic, religious organizations, etc. Well, I need resources because a man insulted my friend for being a pasty white man. He also dead named someone who was trans and has also denied their trans status and basically denied them their pronouns. And he's also insisted that two people who I'm aware of are in a gay relationship are lying about their gay relationship. I consider this to be a violation of the Constitution of the Demingukshania, and I think that the president of Demingukshania should be fucking catapulted into the sea. Just my take on it. The Directorate Branch is authorized to provide restitution to those who request it within reasons that do not violate the Constitution. Okay. I mean, sure, whatever. Religious cults, like the GT2 cult and others, have no authority over any aspect of government or the people. I mean, A, it's not real, but B, even if it was real, it wouldn't actually have authority because it's a cult. Cults typically don't have authority in governments. If they do, you've got big problems. Freedom of religion is welcomed in the Demingukshania Republic, blah blah blah, as long as it does not cause harm to others. Fair enough. Forces religion on others. Fair enough. Promotes racist hatred against another group or minorities, and or causes emotional, physical, financial, or psychological harm. I mean, why are you against religion doing that, but not against like rapists doing that and child molesters? That's what I don't understand about your philosophy. Like, if you were religious, you'd be arguing that children should be taken from schools. Shut up if you're going to say children don't exist, you're a dick. They should be taken from schools and forcibly baptized in a lake, almost drowned, to wash them of their sins every other week without warning or without consent, regardless of their religion. You'd promote that as a brilliant, wonderful thing. You're that kind of fucking freak. Marriage is defined by this document as between two or more people. I mean, okay, so you got polygamy, so you can marry more than one person, but you tell me you'd have three-way weddings where everyone's married to each other, because that's kind of weird. Who have made their personal choice to unify themselves with another. I'm not that against polygamy as a thing, so long as it's like, consented from all of the parties involved. But the only problem is, and the reason why I wouldn't ever advocate for it to be legalized, is that basically it's hard to say what consent is in a marriage with this sort of thing, because you could say, well, yeah, the wife consented to it, that her husband should be able to marry a second woman, but in actual fact, the woman only consented to it because she was afraid she'd lose him if she didn't. Or she was like, you could imagine there'd be situations where people would agree to it even though they're not for it, but they're just afraid to lose their spouse. There are a lot of problems that come up with polygamy and not many good things that happen. Therefore, all marriage is protected, and no law shall be a barrier for anyone who wants to be married, have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or be in a relationship, love, or be loved. Okay. No organization, individual, religious group, political party, etc. can change, alter, or corrupt this amendment. I mean, okay. I mean, we all know the dark undertones of that fucking statement, but same-sex marriage and any other type of marriages are protected by this document. You just said that in the previous bit, whatever. Every human being who wants to engage in marriage, a sexual experience, being engaged, etc. Well, normally you are engaged before you're married, so that's a bit pointless. Can do so at their own digression. I think you meant discretion. Digression is like changing topic without any backlash from the government. Well, that's nice. Marriage in all. Why is the I capitalized in? All forms are handled by the universal branch local representatives. Okay. Everyone who is alive can marry. Oh, so at least necrophilia is ruled out. And experience love to its fullest. Okay, one question then. I mean, we obviously know you want children to get married because you're a sick fuck, but what about really old people who are mentally senile? Like, what about people who are like 90 and whose brain have clearly deteriorated to the point where they don't even know who they are anymore? Am I allowed to just marry them? Am I allowed to just do that? Am I allowed to just walk up to them and say, "Will you marry me?" And because they have fucking dementia flashbacks and think that I'm young Johnny come back from the war in 1940, whatever, they're all like, "Oh yes, I'll marry you," and then you take them up the fucking aisle, and then they pop the clogs in a year or two, and then you get all their money. This sounds like I'm gonna move to this country just so I can do that. I'll marry like 50 old ladies in the space of like 10 years. They'll all die of old age, and I'll just inherit everything as the husband. And then I'll sue this dickhead with all the money that I got from conning old ladies in his shithole country. No human being, dead or alive, has the right in any capacity to bear arms. Oh, God fucking forbid we gave dead people guns. Guns of any kind or variety. What about glue guns and nail guns? I mean, we need those for tools, but I guess we can't anymore. You're going to have to go back to hammering shit in. Don't ever think about using the hammer as a fucking murder weapon, though. For any reason. What about, like, clay pigeon shooting or something? Oh, no, we can't have that anymore. Nor shall any law be passed to do otherwise against this amendment. But the whole point of amendments is that you're supposed to be able to change your constitution to fit with the times, because the founding fathers of the US, for example, recognize that the constitution is going to change over time and that rules are going to change over time. Guns for historical display and or historical purposes are approved, but never for use outside the supervision of the document. You do realize, though, that historically preserved weapons are usually disarmed, so this whole thing is stupid and pointless. Nor shall said gun be used in any function that will harm another human being in any capacity and or violates this constitution. I mean, yeah, every gun in a museum, for example, has been rendered inoperable, so you can't shoot people with it anymore. So this whole thing is pointless. Did you know that Joseph Smith's gun, the Mormon like founder, his weapon is his flintlock pistol is actually available in the Mormon museums, and you can actually see the gun that he used to use in real life. I actually once made a post-apocalyptic RPG, like a tabletop thing, and they broke the story, or at least part of the story, because they saw this flintlock and had to steal it, and turned every Mormon hostile. And they insisted it was worth it. I'm not sure it was, but okay. All guns are illegal and shall never allowed to be exported out to any member state or the Democratic Republic of Democratia. What are you gonna do? Stop me, bitch! I have a gun. What do you have? nor imported from any other country into both the member states and the Democratic Republic of Demigushania. It is also never approved to produce guns at any capacity, sale, or buy any gun or gun-related objects, ammo, silencers, etc. Well, there's two problems. One, you can make your own silencer, and it's not that hard. Two, can I buy a gun holster? Like, is that illegal? Not to mention either that I'm really glad this is written down because nobody will have a gun now. It's not like, people make, buy, and import guns illegally to use them for illegal things. Also, no guns can be brought from a gun-friendly nation and then brought or smuggled into any member state. Well, that's the whole point, smuggling. You don't fucking declare that you're smuggling unless you're Groucho having a joke. Or was it Chico? One of the Marx brothers got detained for writing smuggler on his fucking. Yeah. They asked him, like, he gave him like a form and he had to fill in his occupation, so he put smuggler and then he got detained. And his wife was really pissed off. The Marx brothers were like fucking great. They were like the first internet trolls, but they were real life internet trolls. It was great. Like, they got thrown out of everywhere because, like, Groucho got thrown out of the Sistine Chapel, I think, for making a joke about this guy would drop a pin. Be like, you can hear the pin drop. And he dropped the pin and no one could hear shit. So Groucho was like, well, if you tried a 10 pin, you might get more out of that. And he got thrown out. There's actually a book about it. I'd recommend it if you can find a copy because it's very funny. Number 8. The people have the right to protest and the freedom to assemble, unless they're part of an organization that I disagree with, as long as said protest and or assembly does not support a notion of racism, anti-LGBT, transphobia, homophobia, etc. But you see, that's kind of a problem because you're saying, oh, well, I'm against these things if they're and I agree with it on like Westboro Baptist level, that shit can fuck off. But what about situations where it's like drag queens in schools, where both sides have their own sort of, they have their own thing to say, and there are arguments for and against on both sides. It's a bit more nuanced, is what I'm trying to say, than the Westboro Baptist Church, for instance, and it's a divisive issue. Divisive issues are going to really suffer under rules like this. I don't know why I'm talking about this like it's a real thing, but I might as well. Role play and be part of the fantasy, The schizophrenic fucking fantasy. I'd love to make a D&D campaign set in Demigushania. That'd be fucking hilarious. Well, a tabletop game, I guess. Maybe Fallout. Like 2 days in, Demigushania. It's not Fallout, but like, something of that nature. Demigushania goes to shit because it's Demigushania, and like the party are just a bunch of survivors who have to more or less build their own kingdom on its remains. The people have the right to free elections and to participate in political office and discourse. Okay. So long as said actions are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with or acted upon by a Christian or radical religious group or ideology. So you have the right to vote or do anything unless you're Christian, which includes, but are not limited to, any individual group or organization connected to, a member of, or so if you're connected to people who are disagreeing with you, then you're not allowed to vote. Okay. Or affiliated with a form of Conservative Party, Republican Party. So you've banned 2 parties already. That's great. Christian-based political party, 3 parties. Religious conservative group, or any anti-LGBT, racist, or human party, organization, or individual. Okay. The people has their right to wear what they want. Clothing, shoes, hijab, etc. without censorship. What if I'm wearing like religious clothing to insult that religion? Like, are you gonna have a problem with that, or am I okay to do that? And no government shall infringe on this right by any means. So we can wear SS uniforms which includes but is not limited to creating laws, bylaws, notices, etc., that contradict this amendment. So I'm allowed to wear a fucking Nazi uniform in your country and you can't do a fucking thing about it. Good job, retard. I mean, I wouldn't because honestly they look uncomfortable, but it would be funny. 10A. Nudity is legal in the Democratic Republic of Demingukshania and its member states. Why? I honestly don't understand the obsession with nudity because, like, could you imagine, like, trying to walk around the office naked, right? Partly it'd be weird as fuck, people staring at your body, but also, you're trying to get, like, something out the drawer, you open the drawer, and your dick gets caught in the drawer, and you're like, oh, fucking shit. And then, like, everyone's just like, what's happened? I got my dick caught in the drawer again. Oh, yeah, I hate when that happens. It'd be fucking weird. Like, a lot of these idiots don't quite fathom the fact that clothing exists to protect our bodies from hazards around the world. Like, for example, if you bang your hip on a table with clothing on, the clothing provides some form of protection. Whereas if you're completely fucking naked, yeah, it's really gonna fucking hurt because all you've got is your flesh to protect you. That's why we started wearing clothing in caveman times. And don't even get me started on the weather either, the cold. And is approved to be naked in public in any circumstance. So what if someone's like delusional and wanders out into a fucking blizzard naked? You're not allowed to intervene? It is the choice of the individual how they will dress or not dress, and no government shall approve any legislation restricting the people's right to freedom of expression and to utilize free will, both of which is protected by this document. So I can literally just wear a fucking t-shirt with Stetson's face on it that says Stetson's a twat, and he can't do a fucking thing to stop me. He's not even allowed to amend the Constitution either, stupid prick. The Deminguk national government is authorized to give a universal personal income or UPI to every individual person from the day they are created. Do you have like a synth creation room like in the Institute in Fallout 4? To the day that they expire. No, I've got my expiry date tattooed somewhere. Oh, there it is. The 12th of the 2nd, 2023. Okay. After expiration of said individual, the UPI does not have to be paid back. Well, it'd be kind of difficult because you would have spent it. And it's transferred over to their family. Wait, so you're paying dead people? What? Why are you paying dead people? So you pay people for existing, basically. I mean, I'm not completely against the idea of people getting a income or something like a equivalency of like a tax break so that they can afford basics and then, you know, use money that they earn to support themselves and do better. But the problem is, you're going to have so many Adrastias and James Robert Clarks in this society, I'll just say that. The UPI is to be used at the discretion of the individual in question. So I can literally just go to a fucking strip club and shove it in a stripper's G-string, okay? It is the responsibility of the Directorate Branch to make sure that every citizen receives a UPI. So does everyone get the same UPI? Human rights. This is number 12, by the way. Are moral principles or norms for certain standards of human behavior and are regularly protected in municipal and international law. They are commonly understood as inalienable, fundamental rights to which a person is inherently entitled simply because he or she is a human being. You know, I do wonder if we ever come into contact with aliens and aliens land on the planet, they will not have human rights. Will we just give them the same rights as humans? But for a time period, humans will have more rights than the fucking alien people. I mean, obviously that's all hypothetical, assuming that any of that's even possible, but I'm just saying. And which are inherent in all human beings, regardless of their age. Oh, you said age. Age exists. Ethnic origin, location, language, religion, ethnicity, or any other status. They are applicable everywhere and at every time in the sense of being universal, and they are egalitarian in the sense of being the same for everyone. Okay. It, I mean, giving everyone the same rights on a fundamental level is fine, but I don't quite understand what you consider to be a human right. They are regarded as requiring empathy. Ugh. You see, that already is a problem. Empathy is not a right. You do not have the right for people to feel sorry for you when you blatantly don't deserve it. And the rule of law and imposing an obligation on persons to respect the human rights of others. And it is generally considered that they should not be taken away except as a result of due process based on specific circumstances, like someone disagrees with me on the internet. The Democratic Republic of Demingok condemns White History Month and straight pride. So you're basically telling people. I mean, I think that all fucking pride in, like, you know, your ethnicity and your orientation is fucking dumb. Pride, admittedly, is like fine by me because, you know, that people fought for that shit. So, you know, but I mean, people with straight pride or even just pride should just cover everybody. It shouldn't. You shouldn't need a special straight pride or a fucking special white pride or whatever. Not to mention either that, like, honestly, I don't know why the fuck you'd be proud of something you didn't even pick. I know that, like, white history. I didn't even know there was a White History Month. When even is it? I mean, most of history is fucking White History Month, so whatever. Um, straight pride. I don't even know when these things happen, but these things are racist. So, black pride isn't racist, but white pride is. I don't like just as a thing on its own. Like, you could say you're not allowed to use. You could be clever and give people the ability to do it, but they're not allowed to use this to bash other races and be fucking racist and bigoted, and is illegal in Demingok and its member states. So you're denying a certain race and ethnicity and orientation to have pride in their existence. I mean, I think it's stupid, and it mostly is latched onto by a bunch of racists and bigots, but, you know, I still think it's fucking dumb how you fucking phrased it. I can never remember when Black History Month is. It's like September in it, or October. I like the one that we learned about Mary C. Cole. That was good. I enjoyed that presentation. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then when she was in Doctor Who, like the year after, I was like, it's Mary C. Cole. Eek! I know her. I saw her in a presentation. Bullying will not be tolerated in this country, which includes cyberbullying. Oh no, so people can't call Stetson a bellend on the internet. Homophobia and transphobia, as well as attacking and abusing those for their differences, is illegal in both the Democratic Republic of Demingok and its member states. Okay. 15. Fake news. So, literally anything you disagree with. Slander, anything you disagree with. Character assassination, people pointing out that you're a shit. Being a confidence trickster. What? Is that a thing, or are you just stupid? Hold on. A person who sets out to defraud or deceive people by persuading them to believe something that is not true. Okay. So you basically, that is actually what you've been doing your whole life. Forcing conservative narratives. Oh, but, you know, blind liberal narratives are fine. See, this is the thing with Stetson's books. It just makes everyone a fucking conservative. Because now I'm having to argue against, like, his stupid shit and imply that I'm against liberalism or any of that, which I'm not even. I just don't fucking agree with this bullshit either. Ideologies of others, racism, and creating an unsafe environment for others. It is not tolerated in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So when are you leaving your own country then? Oh, this is where I'll have a go at Gage. The Gage Conservative Cult, or GC2, is a radical. Wait, hold on. You've included his full name in this, so it's the. Like, wouldn't it be the G of a letter C2? Idiot. Is a radical far right religious fringe group. No, it's not. It's a joke. It's a joke cult made because you called it out when it didn't even exist. It's not even a real cult anymore. In fact, people have dropped the joke a while ago. It doesn't even exist as a joke anymore. That produces racist, transphobic, anti-Asian, source please, anti-democracy, and anti-human fake news, conservative doctrine, and ideologies. Source please. This cult and its members are banned from the Democratic Republic of Demogorgonia and its member states. But I was gonna go there and marry old people and trick them out of all their money and then sue Stetson. It was gonna be funny and you've ruined it. Okay. The Democratic Republic of Demogorgonia and its member states hold true the pledge to combat global warming. Why are you going to do that without guns? We accept the challenge to join other nations in cleaning up the environment, creating a green economy. Well, money's naturally green, so you'll be fine. Making the cost of living lower while enhancing quality of life for every individual and group. Okay. White supremacy is not tolerated anywhere or at any time in DineshD'Souzayuk or its member states. Fair enough. The border of this nation and its member states are open and is to remain open. So how can you ban people from your shit you've made up country if people can just, like, there's nothing to stop me from coming into your country? There's no border patrol to stop me from just walking into your country despite the fact that I'm banned from the country. The people have their right to freedom of movement and their freedom to migrate and immigrate. Okay. An open border is a border that enables free movement of people between jurisdictions with a few or no restrictions on movement that is lacking substantive border control. Why is that its own thing when, like, okay, whatever. Freedom of movement, mobility rights, or the right to travel is a human rights concept encompassing the rights of individuals to travel from place to place within the territory of the country and to leave the country and return to it. The right includes not only visiting places, but changing the place where the individual resides or works. Such a right is provided in the constitutions of numerous states and in documents reflecting the norms of international law. For example, Article 13 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights asserts that everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. So I guess that undoes the whole GC2 members of band thing. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. Great, so everyone's just going to leave because this place is a shithole. The Democratic Republic of DineshD'Souzayuk and its member states provides free worldwide universal health coverage, or UHC. Why don't you just brackets UHC, whatever, which is authorized and protected by this government. U8C means that all individuals and communities receive the health services that they need without suffering financial hardship. Okay. It includes a full spectrum of essential quality health services, from health promotion to prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and palliative care across the life course. What the fuck's a life course? Is it like a golf course full of landmines? All forms of pornography, genres, sex acts, fantasies, and fetishes are approved and authorized by this Constitution. Dog porn for everyone. The people have the right to freedom of expression, freedom of choice, and the right to act upon their own free will. Again, this would violate other people's free will, you idiots. Sex workers of any and all forms are protected under the Constitution, and all human rights apply to these individuals and their employers. So pimps have rights, okay, which includes but is not limited to freelancers. Okay. To every other human being, sex work is legal, and at the digression, could he doesn't know English. It's not his fault. He's too stupid. Actually, it is his fault. But shut up. Of the individual at every capacity. 21b. The act of sex in every and all ways, shapes, or forms are legal and accepted throughout the Democratic Republic of Democratia and its member states. I'm bored. The choice to have sex is the responsibility of the individuals and not the government's. Again, though, you just said consent doesn't exist. So it's not the choice of the individuals because you can't opt out. And not the government or any religious group or religious representative or government general. Okay. Sex between 3 or more people is also legal. Is it illegal now? Gay sex is legal. Okay. And any other type of sex is legal. Okay. I mean, there are some that probably should be illegal, but okay. All sexualities in every form are accepted and legal in the Democratic Republic of Democratia and its member states. Sexual exploration is equally legal alongside and equal to Amendments 21 to D. Okay. A sex worker is a person who provides sex work, either on a regular or occasional basis. The term is used to reference those who work in all areas of the sex industry. It's a fancy word for whore. Prostitution on all levels are legal, equal to Amendment 21 and to 21F in this Constitution. The right to engage in such activities are at the digression of the individual and not the government, outside individual or any organization in general. Religious organization or representative of religious organization. 21H. Sex toys and any objects related to sex, including sex shops, bars, or anything involving sex, is legal and equal to Amendment 21 to 21G of this Constitution. Also, public sex is legal. Why? Why would you? Oh my god. I hope someone clamps a pair of anguish to your nads whilst you're trying to deliver a fucking speech. Hello everyone, I bring forward the Generosity Day where stop. Oh no! And it just falls down and just has a fucking cry and everyone takes pictures of it and it's funny as fuck. You see, it wasn't legal, obviously, but in my town there was like an outburst of public sex and a lot of people were just not happy about it. Like my uncle worked at the post office and he went to the window during his lunch break, and there's this woman being fucking bummed over a railing just outside of where he worked. And I'm like, and he was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he just had to like go back in. That was when they thought that the best idea for my hometown was basically they had this land where they were like, okay, what we're going to do with it? And they decided to open a nightclub on it. And the problem is with nightclubs is that they last about a fucking year and then they die. So it was just an abandoned shithole for the best part of 20 years after that. Because nobody fucking thought it through. Honestly, my town was shit for about 20 years because of that fucking nightclub. Like, it was one of the reasons. You had about a year of public sex outbreaks and fights and drug addicts. And then it died and they all went somewhere else. And you just had a fucking ghost of a building left. And they put it right next to the fucking train station as well. So the second that out of towners came in, that was the first thing they were introduced to, was that shithole. You came into the town and just saw a dead building from a bygone age. Wonderful advert. 2B or not 2B, 3 and 14 and 15 of this Constitution. Yeah, I don't care. Sex workers may be any gender. Oh, thank God I got permission. And exchange sexual services or favors for money or other gifts. You do realize, though, that prostitution can be used for, like, nefarious things, right? Sex works can take the form of prostitution, stripping, or lap dancing, performance in pornography, phone or internet sex, or any other exchange of sexual services for financial or material gain. I'm going to reset the recording. Women, men, and all genders have the right to do whatever they want with their own bodies. What are the other genders? Actually, don't tell me, I don't want to know. The government, political party, religious organizations, or any other individual does not have a say in what you do for work. And if you want to sell your bodies, it is your own decision. Well, not always. Because sometimes you can get loan sharks that more or less force you to be a prostitute to pay off the fucking loan. Which is why prostitution was made illegal in the first fucking place. And you shall not be penalized for doing so. You see, the idea of a guy and paying for sex, or a woman paying for sex, and the other person has sex, pays for it, and they both walk away, one with money, one with a blown load, and there's no diseases, nobody was coerced or forced, it's just a business transaction that both people are happy with, doesn't bother me. If that's all prostitution was, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But, like, the problem is that there are so many problems, so many grey areas to consider that, like, you know, the disease factor, for example, is horrific. Masturbation is legal. Oh, thank goodness you gave me permission. Though a sex thing. Sexing. I think you meant sexting. But I just like sexing as a fucking word. Video sex and any form of online or offline sex. Okay. The people are authorized to have sex with whomever they want. This choice is at the digression of the individuals involved, and not by religious, political, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so basically just fuck anything. Being transgender in its entirety is not a crime. I kind of like to see the arrests for people who are transgender. You're under arrest for being transgender. Fuck, man. I will get out. I will put on my dresses again. No, you won't. Yeah, I will. Fuck. The Democratic Republic of Democracy and its member states support transgender people, and said individuals has equal access to every element of worldwide universal coverage via the Dacia health system. DIS. Same goes for all the LGBT plus community. The LGBT plus community are a protected group of people and has the right to benefit from every and all resources that the damning yuck government national has to offer. They are not abominations. I mean, they're not, but you are. And it is illegal for anyone to verbally abuse the LGBT community or anyone by calling them abominations. 1G, but if you call them 2Gs, it's fine. Or any other derogatory name or term. So you've broken your own laws for reasons I've said earlier. I mean, between Steve, Zach, and fucking Jennifer Ranelli, you've basically abused them all under your own laws, and you should get the death penalty for it. Same-sex marriage or any other type of marriage is legal. Okay. Same-sex couples receive the same marital and universal rights in its entirety, equal to that of heterosexual couples or any other couple. That's fine. Not going to argue with that because I don't have a problem with it. We're all created equal, and no individual has the right to divide us, except for you, because division is all you want, all the time. Morals and values have no control over the political motivations of this constitution or the government. So you don't believe in morality, okay? Any laws passed in the present or future, nor in the existence of the Democratic Republic of China. However, there should be no anarchy and any hateful, hurtful, or misanthropy against any human being. I think anarchy is actually up your alley because it's more or less just being able to do whatever you want to whoever you want without consequence, which this just feels like anarchy with extra steps, to be honest. Misanthropy is a general hatred, dislike, or distrust and contempt for the human species. Human behavior, human nature. I mean, it's pretty justified. A misanthrope or misanthropist is someone who holds such views or feelings. Okay. Why is that in your constitution? It's just a definition. There's no laws or rules based around it. Are you saying that it's illegal? Or, well, you're not, clearly. A person, gender, pronouns. Nice English, retard. Are to be respected at all times without exception. Oh, you've got to get the death penalty then because, you know, you dead named Jennifer Vanilla and fucking misgendered her and a bunch of other things. So you need the death penalty. In English, gender pronouns are gender identifiers for a third person singular. In the past, gender pronouns were separated into masculine, he, him, and his, feminine, she, her, hers. This separation of masculine and feminine is called gender binary and only recognizes men and women. Many people identify outside of the gender binary. Not really. Like, only a few people do, and honestly, like, not many. I mean, people do, but gender neutral pronouns such as they, them, or ze, the, theirs allow individuals to use pronouns they feel fit with their identities. Well, I have a xeno pronoun, so my pronoun is a fart sound effect. And if you refer to me as anything but a fart sound effect, you're committing a hate crime. Good luck trying me with that rule, bitch. Festivus is a national. The thought popped into my head of me just being stood in the courtroom, and it's like, this individual, is a member of the cult of, and it's just every fucking time we get anywhere, there's just a fucking wet sound, wet fart sound just plays over the speakers. And then I lose my fucking shit because it's retarded. 25. Festivus is a national holiday combining Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa into one holiday. So, did you ask any other religions about this? Celebrated for 23 days instead of one in December. It's basically Dogbert Day from Dilbert. I don't know if anyone's seen that episode of Dilbert where basically Dogbert makes a holiday and gets rid of all the other holidays that celebrates just him. And he does it because it would annoy the piss out of everyone. It would be confusing and nobody would like it. And it's an absolute shit show of a holiday because obviously it doesn't make any sense. And that's literally what this guy thinks is a good idea. So I get to the end of this page and then I'm going to break it off because I'm kind of bored of this retarded shit. Pride Month is a national holiday celebrated every June. Thanks for that. There shall never be one slave. Oh, but Pedro's in my fucking suitcase and I'm bringing him over. Like, can you make an exception? Just one. Just one little one. Just one little slave. It's fine. Okay, I'll let him run off into the woods. or any ounce of slavery or persecution against a minority or anybody in the Democratic Republic and Democratic blah 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 and its member states. Nor shall there be any homophobia. Transfer. What does this have to do with fucking slavery? Existed. Any human being or living entity can be a slave. I mean, a citizen of the Democratic Republic of the Democratic without bias. Well, that's not true because cult members from Gage's cult are banned, which is discrimination. Also, you've not referred to me by my fart sound pronouns, which I take very offensive. Yeah, I'll stick with that. I take very offensive. Discrimination or political hypocrisy. All are welcome and can stay as long as they choose. They must obey the laws, but other than that, they are free to move freely. Thanks for that. And live life to its fullest. No law shall be enacted to act otherwise. Right, I'm gonna call it there. I've done 35 out of 51 pages. Well, how many? Jesus, he wrote. Oh, so the next bit's just questions and answers. You know what? I'll read up until questions and answers, and then that'll do. And then we can continue on some other time. The official languages of the Deming Auctioneer. Oh yeah, you fucking made up language where your name it means beautiful, I think, and Amos Ye means genius. And English. However, any language can be spoken in Deming Auctioneer and its member states. So any language can be spoken in Deming Auctioneer and its member states. Ba weep gra weep ninny bong. The people have the right to freedom of the press. Except for, people you don't like. And journalism. So long as said individual or group does not abuse said power to do emotional, spiritual, or philological financial or political harm to another human being. Except when they're you're allowed to do that. Or by spreading misinformation / fake news, so anything you disagree with. The people have the right to freedom of information, except if it's information that you don't think they should have. Freedom of receiving free universal education, so long as it's not in areas that you don't think they should learn. And free tuition, college. Freedom of thought and freedom of religion. Freedom of religion within the parameters and the restrictions of this Constitution. Religious groups, churches, or any individual has the right to operate their own, rent out, promote, or elements of gay or transgender conversion therapy or any act, program, or ideology that has said. Wait, what? Any elements, conversion therapy, or any act, program, or ideology that has connection to said program. What? Women? So you've allowed conversion therapy? What? Why have you got conversion therapy in your country, you dump truck of a human? Women have the right to have an abortion if they choose. However, medical technology must also advance to where abortions are no longer controversial in conservative political circles. They'll always be controversial in conservative political circles because it's just. I mean, the whole point is that it goes against their religious idea that, life begins at conception and blah, 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 blah. So, in their eyes, you are murdering a child. The people have the right to fair, universal, democratic elections. Also, they have the right to run for political office and to have an equal opportunity to win as everyone else who is running without fear of being a victim to corruption or corruption syndicates, rigged voting machines, or a sore loser after the election is over. You can't call it a rigged voting machine if it only has one option. 3. Questions about the Democratic Republic of Deming Auctioneer. You know, I'm just going to power through. Fuck it. What is a one world government? One world government refers to the idea of a central government whose authority. Why do you have a Q&A in your fucking constitution, you retard. The idea is generally that many countries in the world would join together in a federation under one central government, similar to how the federal states such as the United States, Australia, Canada, or Switzerland were formed. There are many numbers of variants of this idea. The most common proponents. Oh, okay. Go away. I know I played Far Cry 5 a year ago. Thanks for reminding me. Commonly, they believe in the strength of the United Nations evolving into the world government. It is frequently suggested that UN will be supplemented with a directly elected parliamentary assembly to give the UN authority independent of member states. They support international law as a paramount over the national law and see it evolving into a single global legal system within individual citizens having direct access to international courts within the power to overrule national legislation. This is boring. I regret saying our power for it. Another viewpoint believes that the world government must be perceived by continents. Okay, so this is I don't care. Like, I'll leave it up on screen if you want to read it. That's fine, but this is boring. Is the Democratic Republic of Deming trying to take over the world? Yes. No. This country mission. No joke. It says this country mission is to unify the nations as where everyone can equally benefit from what this planet has to offer. Death. How long is Gage and the GC2 cult banned from the DRDS? For life. But there's no border patrol, so we can just walk in. I just like to imagine us just all walking into this shitty made up country to Macklemore's pet shop, like an instrumental, like da 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 da. We just have pimp coats on, and we just start bitch slapping everyone, and nobody can stop us because they haven't got guns. Are the LGBT plus community permitted by the Constitution to take political or government office in Deming? Yes, screaming. Anyone can run for political office and or work for the government, as long as you are not conservative, Republican, United States, Christian, or indirect member of the radical right. Oh, so you're banning Christians from being able to work in your shitty country. Is it mandatory to be nude in public? No. Being nude or not being nude is your choice alone. What will be the new standard currency? The new standard currency is the Metetsu Yuna, which is a form of cryptocurrency. Oh, it's a scam. What? It sounds like a car, to be honest, but okay. Does Deming actually exist? Yes, it does exist, and we are proud of it. Proof. Where does Deming exist on the map? Deming exists throughout the entire world because it's a democratic cosmocracy. Fucking what? What are the boundaries of Deming Deming consists of the entire Earth. What about people who don't want Deming in their territory? Is Christianity banned or illegal in the Deming? No, however, we do limit what Christian groups like churches can say or do, or how they can interact with the people. So they're just marginalized as fuck, basically. Okay. Are women rights protected in Deming? Fuck no. Yes, all human beings are created equal, except for the fact that they could be fucking raped if someone decides. And that includes women. We support all genders and all individuals equally and universally. How did I become a citizen of the Deming? What you do, right? You take a Desert Eagle pistol. This is the only time where it's actually allowed in the country. You put it in your mouth, the barrel, and then you pull the fucking trigger repeatedly until you can't anymore, and you're a citizen. Well done. Simple. All you have to do is send a citizen request via email. immigrations@protonmail.com. There, sent him a lovely email. Type citizen request into the subject box. Oh, fuck. And you message, I want to become part of the Demongochnia or whatever, and send. You will receive a form to fill out and submit via email. Fill out the form and email the form back to the same email address. Okay. When approved, you will receive welcome information, citizen documentation, etc. Oh, I thought that was a reply. I thought it was like automated or something. Is the government liberal or conservative? The Demongochnia government is liberal. No, it's not. Is mental health or sex reassignment surgery covered under UPI? Yes, both of these are covered completely by the UPI. Okay. When was Demongochnia founded? Demongochnia was founded in 2012, despite the fact that they say it was founded in 2010 in some documentation. Is this the first constitution of Demongochnia? Wait, 30th of the 6th, 2012. No, this is the third update to the Constitution. Every 4 years, the Constitution gets updated. What is the national anthem for the Demongochnia? The autistic one featuring Merrin Ryan. Oh, yeah, you know, like all the fucking national anthems. It feats someone. How does Demongochnia feel about love? We respect the reality that love is universal. Sounds kinky. Love never fails, and that love always wins. Baseball bats win better than love. What is the capital of Demongochnia? The capital of Demongochnia is Puerto Princesa City, Palawan, the Philippines. Did you ask the Philippines about that? Oh. I want to see if I can actually find it on here. This doesn't look like the best place to set up a fucking capital, but okay. Right, I'm looking at it. I don't see where Demongochnia exists. Oh, I found it. I found the country. It's here. Look, it's in its entirety. It looks like a fucking shit show. The capital of Demongochnia is the. Blah, blah, blah. How long has Demongochnia existed for? Demongochnia has existed for 9 years. Okay. Wait, no, it hasn't, you fucking liar. Because when was this fucking written? I don't want to scroll up and lose my place, but this was written like 2019, 2020. Like, it'd have to be written in 2021 for it to be 9 years, surely. Who is the Prime Minister of the Demongochnia? The Prime Minister is Shitayan. Where is the next election? We don't believe in elections because we're a bunch of fucking psychos. Next, after the approval of the new universal integrity laws are passed. So never. What is a social democracy? A socialist democracy. A socialist democracy is a political movement advocating for the gradual and peaceful transition from capitalism to socialism by democratic means. Conclusion. Why is there a conclusion? Laws are to be enacted based on the principles of the Constitution. Constitution is a living, breathing document that unites humanity into one family, one planet, and one nation under God. Or under the sun if you don't believe in God. You don't apparently believe in God except when you do. Laws of the land. No more hunger, no more corruption, no more disease, just peace. We need each other, but we cannot survive as species under the current governmental systems that exist in the world. DineshD'Souzayuk is the key to uniting the human race to end division and war, and to build a future of the world into the 21st and the 22nd century. Next edition, due soon. It's not a magazine, it's a Constitution, you dipshit. Right, that was retarded. Don't know what else to fucking say about that. It's a fucking joke. Yeah, DineshD'Souzayuk's really taken off. When you Google it, you totally get millions of results. It's not a fucking Google whack or anything. Sorry, I was just looking at fucking Puerto Princesa, because, like, Princessa. I don't know how you pronounce that fucking shit. But, trying to find Demiguction. I mean, I found it, but, like, there are other places it could be, for all I know. I like how there is a place that I just saw called Bo's Coffee. But yeah, that's that. I hate that. That was boring as fuck. And it was shit. Bye bye.
Professor Curious is a fucking spurg.